Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this debate sponsored by Radio Voice of the Immigrant. Muito boa noite, ou seja, ainda boa tarde a todos os ouvintes da Rádio Voz do Imigrante e bem-vindos ao debate para o cargo de Mayor de Fall River, nas primárias que terá lugar no dia 21 deste corrente mês. É um prazer e privilégio de ter aqui comigo os candidatos que puderam estarem presentes neste debate. Sem mais demora, porque nós temos apenas 90 minutos, parece ser muito, mas não é muito, quando o debate é conduzido em português e inglês. Portanto, vou apresentar os candidatos. Na minha esquerda temos o incumbente, até porque eu vou falar em inglês e a tradução será obviamente em português. We will begin with the mayor, who is the incumbent, Mayor Paul Coogan, on my left. And Paul Coogan has his interpreter, Mr. Antonio. I was wondering if I said Tony or Antonio Teixeira. And on my extreme left is Mr. Jonathan Albarnaz, who is also a candidate for mayor. Mr. Teixeira will serve as an interpreter for both candidates. On my immediate right is challenger also, Cliff Ponte, who is the president of the Fall River City Council. And on his right, his interpreter, Mr. John Gonzalez. Welcome. Now, based on lock, if you will, we have Mr. Ponte, who has a 2-minute opening segment. And his interpreter also has 2 minutes. Obviously, the others have 2 minutes as well. Portanto, vamos começar. Let's begin with Mr. Ponte for his 2-minute opening.
Thank you, Frank, WHTB, Fall River Community Media, and my friends in the Portuguese community for listening and attending. Growing up in Fall River, I was fortunate. My grandfather was the son of Portuguese immigrants who came into this country in the 1930s. They settled in Fall River and they were farmers. My grandparents and family understand hard work just like many of you who are here and listening. Even though my grandfather has passed on, I know what he would say to me right now. Seize the opportunity to help others and make a difference in the city, but always do what is right. I seek this office with a clear understanding of the expectations of the office of mayor and a passion to lead this community. Not all decisions will be easy as mayor. I'm not running to lead the city because it's easy, but rather because I'm up for the challenge. Fall River deserves lean government and cutting wasteful spending. Residents of this city deserve clean and safe streets. My message throughout this campaign has been clear. As your mayor, I will work hard to save you money. I will reorganize some departments and hold city employees to a high standard to give you a return on your investment. And most importantly, electing a mayor who has a plan to move our city forward, not just for 2 years, but for future generations. Over tonight's debate, you will find a clear difference between myself and my opponent. I have a plan for Fall River, and the current mayor does not. Thank you so much.
Eu quero agradecer ao Sr. Franco Batista, à WHTB, à FCN e também aos meus amigos da comunidade portuguesa por nos ouvirem esta noite e estarem aqui presentes. Ao crescerem em Paulo, tive sorte. O meu avô era filho de imigrantes portugueses que vieram a este país na década de 1930. Eles estabeleceram-se em Paulo e eram agricultores. Os meus avós e a minha família sabem o que é o trabalho duro, tal como muitos de vós que estão aqui presentes esta noite. Apesar do meu avô já ter falecido, eu sei o que é que ele diria se estivesse aqui. Aproveita a oportunidade para ajudar os outros e fazer a diferença na cidade, mas sempre fazendo aquilo que é justo. Eu procuro este cargo com uma compreensão clara das expectativas do cargo de Presidente da Câmara, do Mayor, e também com uma paixão para liderar esta comunidade. Nem todas as decisões são fáceis e como Presidente da Câmara, como vosso Mayor, eu não estou aqui a concorrer para liderar esta cidade por ser fácil, mas sim porque estou pronto e preparado para enfrentar este desafio. Fall River merece um governo de cinta apertada, eliminando gastos necessários. Os residentes desta cidade merecem ruas limpas e seguras. A minha mensagem durante esta campanha é clara. Como vosso Presidente da Câmara, como vosso Mayor, vou trabalhar arduamente para vos poupar dinheiro. Vou reorganizar alguns departamentos e exigir aos funcionários prestar um retorno justo. E ainda mais importante, eleger um Presidente da Câmara, um Mayor, que tenha um plano para levar a nossa cidade a seguir em frente, não apenas por 2 anos, mas também para as gerações futuras. Durante o debate desta noite vou encontrar uma diferença clara entre o meu neste caso entre o meu oponente e eu. Eu tenho um plano para o futuro e o Presidente atual da Câmara, o atual Mayor, não tem um plano para o futuro.
Now, Mayor Paul Coogan.
Thank you, Frank, and I want to thank the Surrey Cultural Society, Radio Voice of Lebanon, and everyone else who's decided. It's been a privilege to serve the city of Fall River each and every day. Less than 3 months into my first term, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. I'm very proud of our administration managed the pandemic at every stage. We have stabilized our economy by supporting small businesses, and we protect our residents through access to PPE, testing, and finally, vaccines. We spoke daily with our elected officials from the state and federal level to advocate solely for the city of Fall River. City departments adapted to provide residents with the services they deserve even during the worst days of COVID. And Government Center was one of the first municipal buildings in the state to fully reopen. We also knew that the pandemic hit our residents hard financially. While the cost of living has increased dramatically in Fall River, to save our taxpayers money, we sold surplus city property to offset expenses, and we changed the employee health care plan to cut costs while maintaining quality. Under my administration, we had the smallest increase in water and sewer rates in the last 6 years. And we also refinanced the Durfee High School debt to save taxpayers an additional $60 million. We've made significant investments in public safety and economic development, and we've had nearly 4,200 building permits gone. Major street repairs are another priority, and we will continue to invest substantial funds in sidewalks and streets. I look forward to continuing the work, and I respectfully ask you to vote on September 21st.
Menos de 3 meses no meio termo de Covid-19 pandemic atingimos fortemente e como a minha administração pude de forma positiva manejar a pandemia até todos os aspectos. Nós estabelecemos a economia por apoiando pequenos negócios. Nós protegemos aos residentes através do acesso ao PPI, testing e vacinas. We spoke daily with our elected, com os nossos oficiais eleitos do Estado e do Federal do ramo dos levels para trabalharem para Fall River, adotando e providenciar residentes com serviços que eles merecem, até mesmo durante os piores dias do Covid. E o centro governamental was one of the first edifícios que o Estado abriu. Nós também sabemos que o pandemia atingiu muitos dos nossos residentes financeiramente, enquanto o cost of living. Mas o mais significante foi os investimentos que nós fizemos em segurança pública e economic development. Perto de 4.200 permissos de edifícios foram issued e dentro de
Okay.
Desculpa, mas eu fui chamado no segundo para fazer a tradução e que não estava preparado para fazer isto. Mas eu não sei então como é que nós queríamos.
Mr. Albanese.
Thank you everyone for allowing me to be here and participate in this event. My name is Jonathan James Albanese, and I am seeking your vote for the next mayor of Fall River.
Obrigado a todos vós por estarem aqui presentes. O meu nome é Albanese e estou por colocar o meu erro.
So I was born and raised in Fall River. I went to high school at Diamond Regional and graduated from the electronics shop.
Eu nasci e fui criado em Fall River, tive o meu high school no Duffy e fui para electronics, tive curso de electronics.
Then I went to Bristol Community College, where I got my associate's degree in computer networking.
Então fui para o Bristol Community College, onde tirei o meu degree de computadores.
Then I went to Johnson Wales University and got my Bachelor's of Science degree in network engineering.
And then I went to Wales, Johnson Wales University, and took a bachelor's degree in science.
I worked in the professional industry, in the technical side of things, for a number of years.
Eu trabalhei durante muito tempo no exército profissional e estou
I earned a Master's of Science at Northeastern University.
tirei uma universidade de Eastern University.
I am a software engineer.
And I'm a software engineer.
I am also an entrepreneur, where I am the president of a company called Punta Studios.
E sou também dono de uma companhia chamada Punta Studios.
And with those things said, I come from a diverse background of knowledge sets, and there's a reliance upon me in the multiple fields that I work. Sorry. That is all.
Okay, very well. We are broadcasting live on WHTB 1400 AM and 93.7 FM. This is also being televised by FRCA Media, and we are privileged to have them. Thank you. And we are broadcasting from this wonderful facility, the a Sociedade Cultural Açoriana, the Azorean Cultural Society. And we are very grateful to them for opening their doors for a civic cause. Estamos a transmitir através da WHTB 1400 AM e 93.7 FM, também com a colaboração da FRCA Media. Muito obrigado. E obrigado a todos quantos fazem parte deste edifício que se chama Sociedade Cultural Açoriana, que abriram as suas portas por essa razão tão cívica. Muito obrigado. So the first question goes to you, Mr. Coogan. Mr. Coogan, you have been a mayor for almost 2 years, and o senhor mayor já está nessa posição quase 2 anos. What is the single reason why you're seeking re-election? Qual é a razão primária que lhe faz concorrer ao segundo mandato?
Okay. The simple reason I'm seeking re-election is because I think the city of Fall River needs stability for once. We flip mayors every couple of years, or we have a recall, or someone leaves.
A razão por que eu estou a concorrer novamente é porque nos últimos anos tem havido muitas trocas neste cargo e acho com capacidade para pegar nisto novamente.
And I have tremendous respect for the position.
E tenho respeito tremendo por esta posição.
This position is someone that leads the entire city.
Esta posição é uma posição que a cidade inteira necessita.
And I go to work every single day prepared to work full-time for the residents.
E agora todos os dias, logo de manhã, para o trabalho, tendo em mente os residentes.
When I grew up,
Quando eu cresci,
I was one of 11 children,
eu fui uma das 11 crianças
and in no way were we wealthy or did we have a lot of money.
e nós não éramos ricos, nem tínhamos muito dinheiro, com certeza.
But my parents did give me one thing,
Mas os meus pais deram algo muito importante.
a tremendous work ethic.
Uma tremenda responsabilidade de trabalho.
Because I know that Fall River needs full-time attention.
Fall River precisa de atenção o tempo inteiro.
It doesn't need a part-time mayor.
E não precisa de mayor de part-time.
It needs someone committed to all the residents every day.
E precisa de mayor que se dedique inteiramente aos assuntos da cidade.
And I think I'm the person that will do that.
E eu sei que sou a pessoa que vai fazer isto.
When the pandemic hit,
Quando o pandemia nos atingiu,
we had to change directions at an extremely fast pace.
nós tivemos de trocar de direção o mais rapidamente possível.
And all the things we talked about at the other debates
E todas as coisas que nós falamos nos outros debates
were no longer on the table.
já não estão mais a serem discutidos.
We needed stability,
Nós precisamos de estabilidade,
leadership,
liderança
and quality work.
e qualidade de trabalho.
And I believe
E eu acredito
that I have done that my entire career
que eu tenho feito isto durante a minha carreira inteira,
while working for the city of Fall River,
enquanto trabalhando para a cidade de Fall River
either with the students at Durfee High School
e com os estudantes do Durfee High School
or in Government Center.
ou no centro governamental.
And I believe I can do the best job for the residents.
E eu acredito que posso fazer o melhor trabalho para os residentes.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Albornoz, also the question, what prepares you to become the next Chief Executive of the City of Fall River? O que lhe prepara para ser o próximo chefe executivo da cidade de Fall River?
So in March of 2020, the government, without the consent of the people,
Só no ano de 20. Which year?
2020.
Oh, no ano de 2020. Go ahead, say it again.
So in March of 2020, the government,
O governo,
without the consent of the people,
sem o consentimento do povo,
has decided to lock down the economy of Fall River,
decidiu para fechar a economia de Fall River.
put up signs that require people to wear masks in order to get simple things like food,
Puseram uma ordem para o pessoal usar máscaras e ter sinais para onde adquirir comida.
and force everyone into a quarantine against their wishes
E puseram todos em quarentena contra os seus próprios desejos.
And as some of you may have heard last night, President Joe Biden has already stated that more forced government oppression is coming to the people.
E como já ouviram o presidente Biden dizer, vai forçar novamente as pessoas a usar a máscara.
What we have right now
O que nós temos agora,
in other places of the United States
em outros lugares dos Estados Unidos,
is the requirement to show your status for vaccination,
há um requerimento exigindo identificação de vacinação,
as well as being required to show proof that you do not have COVID-19.
tal como provar que não tem o COVID-19.
And this is threatening the jobs and livelihoods of all citizens around both Fall River and the greater United States overall.
E isto ameaça muitos trabalhos, não apenas em Fall River, mas também através da nação.
It is my intent to prevent anyone from losing their jobs
A minha intenção para evitar que pessoas percam os seus trabalhos,
It is my intent to prevent anyone from being denied access to grocery stores because they do not have a vaccination card.
e a minha intenção para avisar todas as pessoas que podem entrar numa casa de comércio sem mostrar a identificação de como está vacinado.
It is not the government's business
Não é do governo intenção
to determine what is in your best interest
para determinar qual é o teu melhor interesse
or your best safety.
ou a tua melhor segurança.
Okay. Somebody sabotaged. Oh, no, I thought so, but it didn't happen. Mr. Ponte, it is the same question. What prepares you to become the mayor of Fall River?
Thank you, Frank. And I just want to start my first question by commenting on the fact that I really wish that this debate was the 2 hours that was previously scheduled and agreed upon by the mayor instead of getting cut short halfway through. I just want to make that comment after he agreed to the comments and rather agreeing to doing this debate. With that being said, I'm running for mayor because this city needs a collaborative leader, somebody who's going to step up and make decisions. Somebody who's going to step up and rise to the occasion and not shy away from making decisions. For example, when we had an issue with our prior superintendent, Superintendent Malone, the current mayor didn't do anything about it. He ran away from the issue and found a conflict of interest. When we had an individual running roughshod over our employees in our school department. As chair of the school committee, that's unacceptable in my opinion. I'm running because I have a plan to relieve the taxpayers of this community, like reorganizing city government and making sure that we put our resources in our classroom for our teachers who are working tremendously hard. In addition to that, making sure that your tax dollars that you spend every single month or quarter are giving you a return on your investment. That's what I'm going to do as your mayor. I'm not going to stick a budget down the throat to the city council and taxpayers because it was the easy thing to do. That's not what's good. That's not good government. That's not working in the best interests of the citizens of Fall River. I'm going to analyze and review your water rates. And for once, as an executive, say, enough is enough with increasing your water and sewer rates every year. When are we going to stop and provide relief to the taxpayers? I also want to say that I have a plan available, which you can see online at cliffponteformayor.com. In addition to that, it's also translated in the Portuguese language as well. So you can go online and you can see it for yourself. So the city of Fall River will continue to, if I am elected mayor, will see good government, and you will expect more from your leaders who are electing you, that you have elected to serve your community. Thank you.
Eu esperava que este debate tivesse duração de 2 horas e que nós cumpríssemos com o que foi acordado e que não fosse obrigatório ter que interromper as pessoas por terem ultrapassado o tempo que lhe foi dedicado. Como eu tenho assistido a uma série de situações com as quais não concordo, como chefe do departamento escolar, eu nunca aceitaria o que se passou com a administração do departamento escolar da cidade de Fall River, em que tivemos um superintendente que fez uma série de coisas absolutamente inaceitáveis, e o presidente da Câmara, em vez de o confrontar e resolver e lidar com a situação, encontrou como desculpa um conflito de interesses. Eu vou fazer tudo para colocar os nossos recursos nas salas de aula e não me vou esconder quando começarem a aparecer problemas. Eu sou o Presidente de Câmara que, quando encontrar situações com as quais não concordo, vou dizer já chega. Vou estar sempre com um plano disponível. Tenho o meu plano neste momento. Se quiserem ir à internet, vão encontrá-lo. Está traduzido para português e ao dispor de todos vocês. Cidade de Fall River, PIG, pode esperar alguém que sabe administrar.
Okay, Mayor, you have 2 minutes between you and your interpreter for the rebuttal.
Okay, again, I want to thank everybody for paying, oh, my mistake. I want to thank everybody for paying attention tonight. But you listen to my opponent, to my right, Council President, make statements about shoving a budget down someone's throat. Well, the budget was, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about my buddy Antonio. Go ahead.
O que foi dito foi que I am at loss. Can you repeat that?
Okay.
I know it's time.
I know it's all my time. I'm not worried about it. My opponent to the right made a comment about shoving the budget down
Fez
people's throats.
comentário para afundar os dinheiros da cidade.
So that shoving lasted 45 days, because that's how many days they had the budget.
Eles tiveram 45 dias para decidirem o orçamento da cidade.
And in all of his fiscal responsibility,
E na sua responsabilidade fiscal,
he didn't offer $1 in cuts.
ele não fez nenhum corte, nem mesmo nenhuma só dólar.
He never came up to my office and asked for any suggestions about where we could cut money.
Ele nunca veio ao meu escritório perguntar onde é que nós podíamos poupar dinheiro.
But he did take action at the end.
Mas ele tomou ação no fim.
He decided to try to sue the city.
Ele decidiu que iria levantar processo no tribunal.
And he was the swing vote in a 5-4 vote.
E ele foi o último a votar nos votos 5-4.
So that's real leadership.
So that's falta de leadership.
No. Mr. Albanaz, you have a minute, actually, between you and the interpreter, 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Okay. With comments that Cliff Ponte said earlier,
Go ahead.
he commented on ensuring that reviewing and auditing the city budget
Ele comentou no orçamento da cidade,
across the multiple departments that exist,
através de todos os departamentos existentes na cidade,
and making sure that our government is as efficient as possible,
e fazer o possível para que a cidade seja eficiente, o mais eficiente possível.
This is something that I agree with,
Isto é algo que eu concordo
and I too will pay attention to the details
e eu também prestarei atenção aos detalhes
and make sure that any savings that can be removed via unnecessary expenditures
e ter a certeza que se vai poupar dinheiro e não ter despesas desnecessárias.
I would like to see that tax money return to you, the property owners.
Eu gostaria de ver esse dinheiro devolvido aos proprietários de edifícios na cidade.
All right, thank you.
May I respond to that? Thank you,
Yes,
Frank.
you have
So,
2 minutes between you and your interpreter.
thank you. So, first let me say that I don't think the mayor watches city council meetings, because what didn't happen is I did not vote to sue the city. There was a vote by the Fall River City Council that said if we were to explore litigation because the mayor decided to ram a budget down your throats, the hardworking men and women of this community, water rate increases, sewer rate increases, higher the 2.5% tax. I didn't vote to sue the city. The city council made a motion, should we explore the opportunity to do that? And last I checked, it didn't happen. I think the community should hear from its mayor and chief executive about his plans to move this city forward and not trying to continue with this gotcha politics, because that is what happened with the budget. He didn't want to listen to the concerns of the honorable body, the Fall River City Council. He wanted to go and just jam it down your throats with rate increases, tax increases, with no thoughts. Why do we have to go into the mayor's office and say, I have an idea to cut this? Because quite honestly, you can probably speak to the majority of the city council, and they've offered you suggestions before, Mr. Mayor, and you haven't even listened to them. Like when Councilor Dion went to your office with our council vice president and asked you suggestions about reducing solid waste. It was ignored. That's not good government, and the residents of this community expect more from their mayor, quite frankly.
O Sr. Mayor aparentemente não assistiu às reuniões do Conselho Municipal da cidade de Fall River, porque eu não votei para processar a cidade, contrariamente ao que ele indicou. Na altura, o que aconteceu foi que nas reuniões do Conselho Municipal da cidade de Fall River estávamos a falar por indicação e proposta dele dos aumentos da água, dos esgotos, e eu não votei. O Conselho Municipal, na altura, discutiu a possibilidade, ou explorar a possibilidade de se processar a cidade, mas isso não aconteceu. O Mayor não quis escutar o que lhe era dito através do Conselho Municipal. Ele votou na decisão de aumentar os impostos prediais. Porque é que somos nós que teremos que ir ao escritório do Mayor para dialogar com ele, quando os elementos do Conselho Municipal da Fall River lhe têm dado diversas sugestões que o Mayor declinou aceitar?
We'll go with Mr. Albanaz. Mr. Albanaz, the city of Fall River is facing some public safety problems. A cidade de Fall River está a encarar problemas relacionados com a segurança da cidade. If elected, se for eleito, what would you do? O que fará for you to get rid of this problem, para eliminar esse problema?
Okay, so first thing I would do is consult with the police department.
A primeira coisa que eu farei será consultar-me com o Departamento da Polícia,
As they should have the best knowledge set
porque eles devem ter o melhor conhecimento de causa
and the information and data available
e de informação e data à mão,
in which to give further instruction both to me and to the rest of the people of Fall River.
em ordem para dar instruções não apenas a mim, mas também como ao povo de Fall River.
It would be a goal of mine to make sure that the police are best directed towards dealing with crime, violent crimes, and infiltrating the various gang-related groups that these crimes are stemming from.
You're going too fast for me. Será a minha intenção ter a melhor polícia local para proteger o povo de Fall River. Isso bem abreviado.
Part of this issue has to deal with illegal immigrants.
Parte deste problema tem a ver com imigrantes ilegais.
Not all of them, just the ones that are committing acts of violence.
Not all of them, apenas aqueles que cometem violência.
And I would look to various agencies within the government,
Eu verei através de agências federais,
as well as consultation from the police department,
como consultando o Departamento da Polícia,
in order to get guidance on how to best address that issue.
de forma que eles me possam guiar na melhor forma possível para resolver. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Ponte. With regards to public safety, which is a concern to a lot of people, needless to say, é uma grande preocupação. What would you do, specifically, if elected? O que fará, especificamente, se for eleito?
Thank you. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to perform an audit of the police department to improve efficiencies, staffing, and performance. We are going to restructure the police department immediately with speaking to the police chief and get more of our superior officers and those who are inside the police station back onto our streets so that they can keep this city safe. That's what needs to happen, and that can happen right now. That could happen today. But what is not acceptable is the continued neglect in respect of our Fall River Police Department. At our last debate, the mayor actually said we want to bring the police department back to being honorable again. Quite honestly, I think our police department is honorable, and we have some of the hardest working men and women all across the state representing the citizens of Fall River in their police department. Another thing that isn't acceptable is when we have a report filed by former police chief Souza that says that we have 18 violations of rules and regulations and policies after a police officer had cocaine, fentanyl, and heroin in his desk, and the mayor did nothing about it. He ran away from the issue. He ran away from the issue just like he did when we had the superintendent before us, and that was a big issue. The mayor is the chief executive officer of the city. You have to expect more from your department heads and your department because the community and the entire city of Fall River wants to make sure our streets are safe, and the morale in our police department now is worse than it's ever been. I've talked to police officers. I've heard from police officers. And you know what? The buck stops at the top, and that's the mayor of the city of Fall River. Thank you.
Em primeiro lugar, fazer uma auditoria completa do desempenho do Departamento Policial para melhorar eficiências, o nível do pessoal e também o seu desempenho. Reestruturar o Departamento Policial baseado nos resultados desta autoria do seu desempenho, da forma como se tem vindo a comportar, de forma a que possamos colocar mais pessoas, retirá-los de trás das secretárias e colocá-los nas ruas onde são mais precisos. O que é importante não esquecer é que há uma falta de respeito tremenda em relação aos nossos polícias. O próprio Mayor, o Sr. Presidente da Câmara, disse recentemente num debate que o Departamento da Polícia não tem cumprido de forma honrosa com as suas funções. Eu discordo, eu considero que eles têm feito adequadamente o seu trabalho. Recentemente foi também publicado um relatório de um antigo chefe da polícia
na qual ele divulgou 18 transgressões que haviam sido identificadas por terem sido cometidas por elementos do departamento. Inclusive é um polícia que tinha drogas na sua secretária. O Mayor não fez nada. Foi, naquela altura, fazer o que tem feito normalmente, que é fugir do problema. O que é preciso, o que é cada vez mais importante, é que as nossas ruas estejam seguras.
Mayor?
Okay, first I want to make, oh, I'm sorry, I came with the mic. First I want to make something clear. When I said I want police to be honorable, it's in the eyes of the residents. Right now in this country, there's a whole movement to defund the police, and police are looked down on. In Fall River, we're not doing that, and I want them to be able to maintain that. That's what I meant by then. Neighborhood meetings are important ways to find out what the public has on their mind with public safety. Throughout the city, I attend as many of those as I can. I've never seen Cliff at any of them. I have now that he's running, but prior to, never saw him at one. In Fall River, our property and casualty crimes have all gone down this year. We need more police on the streets. We need more people in leadership positions. We need more cameras. But what I will not listen to is Council President talk to me about public safety. He had a vote on 8/17 to simply address where sex offenders are residing. He voted no. Thank God 5 other councilors voted yes. He talked about it, sending it to finance. It was a vote to adopt. He couldn't send it to finance. The vote went to him already passed, 5-2. 10,000 students go to Fall River Public Schools. We want to know who's around them. He voted no. So how can he lead public safety when he doesn't even want to keep the children safe? And then when you listen to his answer about that, he talks about finance committee and whatever. I'm sorry. I killed him.
You get too excited. I lost everything. But one thing I can say is that, uma coisa eu posso dizer é que o presidente do Council, numa das reuniões em referente a sex offender que devia ser declarado a sua residência, e ele negou-se a votar nesta posição. Não sei mais o que é que dizer, porque you spoke too fast.
You gotta kick me. You gotta kick me, Tony.
I will.
Mr. Albornoz. Yes.
Okay. First, I partially agree with Mayor Coogan in that our police department should not be defunded.
Eu concordo com o Mayor Coogan que o Departamento da Polícia não deve ser tirados os fundos necessários.
And I'm also in partial agreement with Cliff Ponte that we can measure the performance and evaluate our police department.
Concordo também com o Sr. Ponte que o Polícia Departamento deve ser evaluado.
Such that things like salary can be tied directly to positive outcomes in crime rates.
Tais como o salário dos polícias devem estar diretamente ligados à forma como eles funcionam.
It should be common sense that good policing should lead to good paying jobs and lower crime rates.
E é o senso comum que os polícias devem ser bem pagos e terem providenciar a segurança para a cidade.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Now, next question go to the mayor. Mayor, you tout full leadership. I even saw that in back of the bus on my way here. Liderança total. What is it that you mean by that? O que é que quer dizer com isto?
Gotta remember you're there. What I mean by full-time leadership
O que eu quero dizer por ser um líder a tempo full-time
is that someone goes to work every day
é alguém que vai trabalhar todo o dia
to do what's best for the residents of the city.
para fazer o melhor para os residentes da cidade.
No distractions with other businesses,
Não pode haver distrações com outros negócios,
no worries about finances.
não se preocupar com finanças.
And when Cliff sent out his memo to the voters,
E quando o Cliff mandou um memo para os votantes,
he made it clear what he thought
ele foi bem claro naquilo que ele pensava.
His own words say the position of mayor in Fall River
A posição de mayor em Fall River
is without a doubt a ceremonial position
é sem dúvida nenhuma uma posição cerimonial,
in my mind.
na minha ideia.
I am not stepping aside as a broker
Eu não vou deixar o meu trabalho como real estate,
because I have to work with
porque eu tenho que trabalhar com
hedge funds
hedge funds
to take care of 225 people
para tomar conta de 225 pessoas
that are being evicted.
que têm sido expulsos das suas residências.
Was that 2 or 4?
2 or 4? It's supposed to be 4. Because it's, no,
Two more
you got 2 more minutes.
When Cliff sent his memo out,
Quando o Cliff mandou o seu memo fora,
I considered it
eu considerei
his plan
o seu plano
for being mayor.
para ser mayor.
He has set up people to help him at work
Ele pôs um grupo de pessoas juntas
and to be able to run the city part-time.
para poder ser o mayor apenas de part-time.
And that's in direct opposition to what I believe.
Isto é precisamente a oposição daquilo que eu acredito.
The residents of Fall River
Os residentes de Fall River
deserve full-time leadership in Government Center.
merecem no Government Center um full-time job. Oh, it's okay.
And that is what I believe is best serves everyone in the city of Fall River.
Isto é o que eu julgo que melhor serve os residentes de Fall River.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Mr. Ponte?
Who's running this debate? I mean, is it the mayor or is it Frank? I mean, I think Frank
No,
does a good job doing the debate.
It's on an extreme, I'm still thinking of two candidates, Mr. Albanaz.
And this is a question on leadership.
Yeah.
Okay. Being in a position of leadership
Estão na posição de liderança,
does not make someone a leader.
não faz alguém líder.
Becoming a leader
Tornando-se líder
is based on the assessment of your peers.
é baseado no assessment dos teus colegas.
An individual who can make leaders of their friends and associates
Indivíduo que possa fazer líder dos seus colegas e associados,
will naturally find themselves to become a leader.
honestamente, tornam-se verdadeiro líder.
In the various lines of work that I do,
Nas variadas ocupações que tenho,
it is confirmation that my friends and coworkers
é uma confirmação que os meus colegas de trabalho
rely upon me
dependem de mim
to get whatever task that they need done to be accomplished.
para completar qualquer tarefa que seja necessária.
They rely upon me
Eles
for
dependem de mim
for my honesty,
para a minha honestidade,
for my competency,
para a minha competência
and for my expertise in whatever subject matter that is at discussion.
e para a minha experiência nos assuntos que estamos a discutir.
And just as my coworkers and friends look upon me for leadership,
E tal como os meus colegas olham para mim para leadership,
I look upon them for leadership as well.
Eu olho para eles da mesma forma.
Because I cannot do everything on my own.
Porque eu não posso fazer tudo por mim mesmo.
And I must rely on other people and their expertise
E eu devo depender nessas pessoas e nas suas habilitações,
so that we can all work together to achieve something greater than any one of us individually can do.
para podermos atingir os objetivos que todos nós temos.
This is something that I hope to bring to the people of Fall River
Isto é algo que eu gostaria de trazer ao pessoal de Fall River,
by encouraging individual, community, and neighborhood leadership.
encorajando comunidades para ter verdadeiro líder.
And at every chance possible, I'd like to spotlight people who rise to the occasion for their civic duty.
E todas as oportunidades que tiver, eu vou nomear as pessoas que têm essas qualidades.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Ponte,
Thank you.
your turn.
Thank you. So, I don't know if anybody in this room, besides the mayor, has ever made a mistake in their life. And I've stated before, and I've stated again, that the internal memo that wasn't to the voters of Fall River was to my internal staff to relieve them that I was electing to run for mayor. I should have used my words better. I've admitted that. And I've said it repeatedly. But the mayor, unfortunately, cannot run on his full-time leadership that produces part-time results. I am still waiting, and so are the residents of this community, a plan from the mayor about how we are going to move this city forward. That's what we need to be talking about today. How we can improve the streets in our city. How we can make sure that our potholes are fixed. That we can have a street improvement plan, which we will do if I'm elected mayor. Improving our education for our scores. That's what we need to be focused on. The mayor just took 4 minutes to sit here and try to discredit me as a business person. Somebody who has employed many people in this city, who has taken property and transformed it to give people opportunities. We should be celebrating that type of success when somebody who's 32 years old rises to the occasion and opens multiple businesses in this community. As a city council president, I haven't sat here and talked about it for 6 years. I've done it. The mayor has been on the school committee and in the school system for 30 years and is making $189,000 a year right now as mayor, with his $70,000 pension and his $119,000 a year salary as mayor. He is the richest mayor in the city's history in terms of a salary. Where are we with that? I understand that the mayor wants to be here for another 2 years because he's making almost $20,000 a month. What is the plans for Fall River? What is the plans for moving this city forward?
Eu suponho que, à exceção do Sr. Presidente da Câmara, mais ninguém que esteja aqui nesta sala alguma vez cometeu um erro. Eu cometi um erro. O erro foi que o memorando de que estão a falar foi para ser distribuído pelo meu pessoal. O pessoal que trabalhava para mim, os meus funcionários. Eu reconheço que deveria ter escolhido muito melhor as palavras que eu utilizei. No entanto, ainda estou à espera que o Sr. Presidente da Câmara venha a público falar sobre os seus planos para o futuro. É isso que nós queremos, é isso que deveria ser discutido esta noite. Como é que vamos tapar os buracos que estão nas nossas ruas? Como é que vamos melhorar o nosso sistema de ensino na cidade? Eu sei que durante 32 anos da minha profissão transformei algumas propriedades, mas não tenho andado sempre a falar sobre isso. Sei que dei oportunidades às pessoas que se encontram neste momento em melhor situação. O Presidente da Câmara está no tratamento escolar há mais de 30 anos e neste momento o seu vencimento é de $189 mil por ano, que são 70 mil da reforma que ele recebe e também 119 mil do ordenado que recebe como Presidente da Câmara. É o Presidente de Câmara mais bem pago da história de Fall River. Ele quer ser Presidente da Câmara durante mais 2 anos, porque neste momento ganha cerca de $20 mil por mês.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mr. Albarnaz. A próxima pergunta vai para o Sr. Albarnaz. You said earlier, with regards to public safety, that the crimes, or at least most of them, and clarify, were being committed by illegal immigrants. Are there a lot of illegal immigrants in the city of Fall River? And they are, if so, they are the ones that are indeed committing crimes. Os imigrantes ilegais é que estão a cometer crimes na cidade de Fall River.
So, when I said that that illegal immigrants
Quando eu disse imigrantes ilegais,
and coming from multiple countries around the world, some of which is from South America,
e que vêm de todas as partes do mundo e alguns da América do Sul,
some of these individuals, most of these individuals, are not committing crimes.
a maioria deles não estão a cometer crimes,
But some of them are committing violent crimes.
mas alguns estão a cometer crimes violentos.
Now, regarding to what degree of this, I cannot provide any information on that. That is something that I will rely on the police department
Isso eu não posso providenciar números direitos, mas tenho de depender do Departamento da Polícia
to get a fair assessment of the situation.
para ter assessment de direitos sobre a situação.
However, there is a problem and it is on the rise here in Fall River.
No entanto, há problema que está a aumentar aqui na cidade de Fall River.
As I spent time in front of multiple stores at multiple locations throughout the city,
E quando eu despendo tempo em frente a lojas e outros edifícios,
I have I have talked with many of these people, and some I could not chat with directly because of language barriers.
eu tento conversar com eles, mas muitas vezes não consigo devido à barreira linguística.
So yes, I have talked to individuals that are not legally here in this country.
Sim, tenho falado com imigrantes ilegais.
Now, for those who are here on refuge from hostile nations like Venezuela,
Para aqueles que estão aqui como refugiados com países como a Venezuela,
I believe it is fine in that they look to the United States as a place of refuge.
eu creio que está bem eles olhar os Estados Unidos como lugar de refúgio.
But it is unfair to all the individuals who immigrated here from other countries
Mas não está certo para os outros indivíduos que vieram de outros países,
legally like those from Portugal.
daqueles que vieram legalmente, tais como os que vieram de Portugal.
Okay, next is Mr. Ponte, with regards to the same question about illegal immigrants committing crimes in Fall River.
So I don't have statistics on who's committing crimes in Fall River, but the statistics that I do have is that our sexual assaults are up, our arrests are up, our drug arrests are up. We've seen some improvement when it comes to burglary, when it comes to larceny, motor vehicle theft. But you know what we have is a big problem in our police department right now. And the biggest problem is a morale issue. Chief Souza, who was hired to do an investigation, indicated that we have an issue with morale. It's the last page of the report. And we need to make sure that we stand behind our public safety officials, police and our fire, to make sure that they have support from their mayor. And not say that they're not honorable, because they are, but respect them. I also want to indicate one other thing as well. The mayor said when he was running for mayor, when he went before the police union, and said at a debate that I will never offer you, in disrespect for you, and offer you 001. The mayor, when taking office, said one thing and did another, and offered them 001. So we can't talk out of both sides of our mouth. We have issues when it comes to public safety. We need more police officers on our streets right now. And as chief executive officer like the mayor is, you should be working with our police chief right now to get police officers on our streets. That means that you make sure you have and you reorganize the department. That's in my public safety plan. Reorganize the department and add more police officers on our streets. I don't know if you've spoke to a police officer lately, Mr. Mayor, because they're burnt out and they're not feeling supported. And we need to stand behind them. They are burning the midnight oil like we've never seen before. We need to stand behind them because the community deserves safe streets. And they deserve to feel comfortable leaving their homes or their apartments, feeling safe. But how do we do that when we don't have enough police officers and no plan to address it? 214 police officers is what we have in Fall River right now. Back in 2009, we had 250. Our goal needs to be 245. I would love to hear what the mayor's goal is about having more police officers on the streets. Haven't heard from it yet. I have one, and I've explained my points, and I'll continue to. That's why I am a clear choice to be the next mayor of the city of Fall River. Thank you.
Eu não tenho estatísticas sobre o tipo de crimes que foram enunciados. Sei que os casos de abuso sexual têm aumentado, sei que o número de assaltos tem aumentado, sei que o número de pessoas que têm sido presas tem aumentado. O problema que nós temos presentemente com a polícia na cidade de Fall River é uma questão de moral. O chefe Sousa, no estudo que fez, disse e destacou que neste momento o grande problema do Departamento da Polícia de Fall River é uma questão de falta de moral. E sentem isso porque consideram que não têm o apoio, aliás, do Presidente da Câmara. É necessário respeitar os polícias. Quando o Presidente da Câmara esteve reunido num dos debates com o Sindicato dos Polícias de Fall River, ele disse que nunca os ia insultar oferecendo-lhes 001, neste caso, em termos de aumento salarial, 0%, 0%, 1%, e foi exatamente isso que ele fez. Eu tenho um plano para a segurança pública. Nós temos que ter mais polícias presentes nas ruas. Os polícias, neste momento, estão totalmente saturados. Eles precisam de sentir o apoio do seu meia. Nós temos que estar com eles, por trás deles. Os residentes de Fall River precisam de ruas seguras, precisam de sentir que quando saem de casa não vão estar em perigo. Neste momento nós temos 214 polícias. Em 2009 tínhamos 250. O número certo, o grande objetivo, devia de ser 245 polícias no Departamento Policial da cidade de Fall River. E qual é o plano do Mayor para isso? Até agora não ouviu. Eu não ouvi dizer nada sobre isso, ele não o explicou, mas eu, pessoalmente, eu tenho. E é devido a isso, por ter este plano, tudo o que eu expliquei, que eu sou a pessoa certa para ser eleita a Presidente da Câmara da cidade de Fall River.
There's a minute of rebuttal for Mr. Albanaz. Actually, 2 minutes, because minute for you, minutes for your interpreter. You're the mayor.
No, that's not why we're doing it. We're trying to keep an order to it.
Go ahead.
Let's be clear about public safety in the city of Fall River. When we had a horrible tragedy,
Vamos esclarecer sobre o que se passa em Fall River, especialmente quando tivemos uma tragédia,
Cliff was nowhere to be found.
que o Cliff não apareceu em parte alguma.
He didn't go to the neighborhood meeting at Corky Row,
Ele não foi à reunião do meeting do Corky Row
and I haven't seen him at any of the events in Griffin Park this summer.
e eu não o tenho visto em outras atividades, tal como no Griffin Park.
The residents of Griffin Park,
The residents of Griffin Park,
or the ones that surround it,
aqueles que moram à volta,
are thankful that the police have stepped up
estão agradecidos que a polícia tem comparecido
and done what they're supposed to do to keep a lid on that area.
e fazer o que eles precisam fazer para tapar o que é preciso tapar.
And we're working to try to do that
E nós estamos trabalhando para fazer isto mesmo,
around the city.
através da cidade inteira.
But the policemen I talk to
Mas os polícias com quem eu falo,
literally ask me,
literalmente, perguntam-me
how could he vote against
como é que ele pode votar contra
checking the addresses of sex offenders?
para verificar as residências dos sex offenders.
If he wants to keep the children and residents
Se ele quiser ter os residentes e crianças
safe.
seguros.
And that's what the police tell me.
Isto é o que a polícia me diz.
Mr. Bernaz, Mr. Bernaz?
No rebuttal.
Can I take his time? Because there's a lot there. So, first off, let me clarify once again the mayor's comments. The city council, and if the mayor watches city council meeting, he'd know, is that when we have communications that come down from the mayor, we refer them to our subcommittee. We've been doing it for 25 years. And so what the city council did at that meeting was refer all of the grants and refer them to our subcommittee. That one specific one there was a motion to adopt it, but I wanted it to go to a subcommittee so we can find out what it costs, if we're getting a matching grant. That's what we wanted to do because that's what good government does, right? That's what making sure that we represent the taxpayers does. And when we have a child that is shot at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, what isn't the way to address it is to go and have events in neighborhood meetings. When the Fall River City Council's chairman of public safety wanted to have a joint meeting. And then I called you, Mr. Mayor, and I said, can we have a joint meeting? Your comments to me were, no, I'm not doing a joint meeting. I'll go down the street if I have to. That's not unity. That's not collaboration. That's not leadership. The city of Fall River asked you to step up at that time and show leadership when the community was mourning and needed stability. Mr. Mayor, you didn't do it and you let the community down. And we deserve more. That's why I'm running for mayor of Fall River, because this community needs a leader who is decisive, who is ready to make decisions, sometimes decisions that might not be popular, but with your best interest in mind. Thank you.
Quando existe uma reunião com o Mayor no Conselho Municipal, nós, quando recebemos a recomendação dele, o que fazemos é passar essas recomendações aos subcomitês. O caso a que o Presidente da Câmara se refere foi proposto na reunião do Conselho Municipal que nós o aceitássemos, mas eu pedi, antes disso, que ele fosse entregue ao subcomitê para que explorássemos a possibilidade de conseguir outras verbas para lidar com o problema. Ora, quando uma criança é atingida a tiro às 2 horas da madrugada, é óbvio que o importante é nós lidarmos com o assunto, não é fazermos espetáculo. Eu pedi, na altura, para termos uma reunião em conjunto e o Sr. Presidente da Câmara disse que não. Ora, isso não é liderança, nós temos que trabalhar em conjunto nestas situações quando acontecem casos desta natureza. Nós precisamos de estabilidade e precisamos de um líder que não tenha medo de tomar decisões.
Next question is for the Councillor Ponte. You speaks often that there are no plans that the city of Fall River is being administered without plans. Que não há planos nesta cidade, visão. Qual é a sua pergunta? What is your meaning of that? I mean, what do you mean by that?
So just for clarity, the question is, what do I mean by
About planning.
planning? Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. So I have sent out a huge mailer that many of you in your homes have received. And it articulates a plan for economic development, neighborhoods, education, public safety. And I'm the candidate that is running for the office. I am here today to let you know that I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work for you, the taxpayers of Fall River, and the residents of Fall River. We speak about key issues facing our community. That's why I'm running for mayor, because there's no plan or vision coming from the 6th floor right now. I've articulated very important plans, like making sure that the streets in this community are clean and safe. When you drive into Fall River, for the longest time this summer, we saw grass that was up to your hips. That's not acceptable when welcoming people to Fall River. When we have 200 people a day go to Battleship Cove and 500 people per day on the weekends, there's no plan to improve our streets, except it's just government by fire and ambush. I want to see a 10-year roadway improvement plan that addresses our streets and our sidewalks on a regular basis. Just like our fire department, who is waiting for resources from the mayor as well, who promised that. When their fire stations are falling apart, when they lay down at night and you got paint drips falling in their face. That's what we need. We need a plan, and I'm going to do that. These are the things that I'm planning to do. In addition to that, it's insincere to say that when we have water rates and sewer rate increases and tax rate increases, and we have to go increase your taxes even more next year, which the mayor said this week, he's going to have to go to the debt exclusion next year, that's going to raise your taxes even more. So if you're frustrated when you leave your homes today and your streets are not clean and your sidewalks aren't maintained, or maybe one side of the street's paved and the other side of the street isn't paved, that's for lack of planning. And that work is unacceptable to me. And as an executive and as mayor of Fall River, I will maintain that. That kind of work and lack of planning is unacceptable. Thank you.
Portanto, em termos de esclarecimento, vou explicar o que é que eu quero dizer com planeamento. Conforme os senhores tiveram a oportunidade de ver, eu distribuí, ou pelo menos mandei pelo correio, um panfleto que contém a minha visão, que está dividida em várias secções: desenvolvimento económico, os nossos bairros e ruas, segurança pública, educação. O que eu tenho visto é que nós não temos ruas limpas e seguras. Houve uma certa altura, quando chegava a Fall River, nós encontrávamos a relva por cortar e que por vezes chegava até aos joelhos. Isso não dá uma boa imagem da nossa cidade. Não há um plano neste momento para consertar adequadamente as ruas. Eu propus um plano que vai ser prolongado durante 10 anos. Outro exemplo, os bombeiros ainda estão à espera de ver melhoramentos nas suas estações, que, segundo eles, está a cair. Nós precisamos de um plano, e é isso que eu estou a fazer. Se não houver uma visão, se não houver um planeamento adequado, não vamos a lado nenhum. Os esgotos, o Meia diz, em vez de ter feito um plano para tratar desse problema, diz que agora vai ter que utilizar os fundos da exclusão de dívidas. As ruas não estão pavimentadas por falta de plano. Isso, para mim, é absolutamente inaceitável no líder de uma cidade.
Planning.
We did have a number of plans
Nós temos uma série de planos.
when we were sworn in on January 6th.
Quando juramos prestamente no dia 6 de janeiro.
And I still have a few of them here. Our financial plan,
Ainda tenho alguns planos aqui.
our capital improvement plan,
Capital programa
and our plan for urban renewal in the Flint
e development no Flint,
is being worked on right now.
que está sendo trabalhado agora mesmo.
But it is funny
Mas é curioso
that the time that Cliff spent in the city council, 6 years,
Mas é curioso como o Council despendeu 6 anos naquela posição
I don't remember any of his plans.
Eu nunca ouvi dos planos dele.
When we met, when I first was sworn in,
Quando nós primeiros juramos,
he didn't talk to me about any of his plans.
ele não falou comigo por nenhum desses planos.
And as far as the debt exclusion goes,
E no que diz respeito ao debt inclusion,
that was voted on by the voters in Fall River.
foi votado pelos votantes de Fall River.
And it was supposed to kick in next year.
E é suposto para principiar no próximo ano.
But what I said was,
Mas o que eu disse foi,
we're going to do our best
nós vamos fazer o melhor
to minimize the impact of that with ARPA money.
para minimizar esse problema.
Those are the things that I'm working on,
Estas são as coisas que eu estou a trabalhar,
including 5 miles of streets being repaved,
incluindo 5 milhas de ruas que estão a ser consertadas,
the renovation of the Bank Street Armory,
a renovação do Bank Street Armory,
the old police station,
o Old Police Station,
and I'm literally paving streets
e basicamente trabalhando nas ruas
that have had a binder on them
que tinham contrato com eles
since 2010.
desde 2010.
Thanks.
Obrigado.
Mr. Albanese.
So, with regards to the various public services,
No respeitante diversos serviços,
I plan on ensuring that each of these services remain undisrupted
eu quero ter a certeza que esses serviços nunca serão interrompidos
and will review each and every one of them
e nós verificaremos todos e qualquer um deles
to ensure that they are running
para,
as,
para assegurar que eles estão a decorrer
as efficient and as accountable by you, the people,
eficientemente e verificado pelo povo de Fall River.
if there is a road that needs to be paved,
E se há algum trabalho a fazer,
then it should be easy for you to reach out to those accountable to ensure that your road gets repaired.
então deverá ser muito fácil para falar com os vossos líderes para que essas ruas estejam consertadas.
If the method for you to contact City Hall on how to get these repairs done, as an example,
Se o método de comunicação para entrar com comunicação com o City Hall,
if you find it difficult,
se achar difícil,
then there can be alternative methods to make it easier for you to hold the services of Fall River
então deverá haver métodos mais fáceis para fazer esses trabalhos
more easily accountable.
e ser mais responsáveis.
Regarding long-term plans,
No respeitante termos a longo prazo,
we should have had
nós deveríamos ter
an avenue along the waterfront,
uma avenida através de waterfront.
which should be zoned for commercial businesses.
O que deverá atingir comerciais.
That is something that I will look into as to why it hasn't happened yet,
Isto é alguma coisa que eu gostaria de saber porque é que ainda não aconteceu
and try to push to make sure that that is a long-term goal for the city of Fall River.
e puxar para que isto seja, na realidade, longo termo para a cidade de Fall River.
Okay. You have a minute for rebuttal.
So the Fall River City Charter states a 5-year forecast, strategic plan, a long-range strategic plan every 10 years in the year ending in 0. That was 2020. That was last year. The mayor did not do that. So we talk about planning, and the mayor did not do that and follow the city charter. In addition to that, based on what I've done, Mr. Mayor, these are all the resolutions that I filed since I was on the Fall River City Council. I'd be happy to share them with you that discuss opioid-related issues, financing, holding people accountable, expecting more from your government and expecting more from your department heads. That is what is before us right here. my resolutions, which are public record, and I'd be happy to share them with you. So what I've done also, including in this pile of resolutions that I have here, was a suggestion to the administration, because I don't think the mayor understands the role between an executive branch and a legislative branch. An executive branch is the one who should be doing the planning. The legislative branch legislates. The mayor is not doing any of that. In addition, in here, right here, is a resolution that is filed that asks to do a performance audit of our police department. That wasn't done. Actually, they spent $30,000 to tell us that we have an issue with comp time, which we already knew.
Now it's just the translation.
O Chara da cidade de Fall River diz que nós temos de ter um plano de antevisão para os 5 anos seguintes. É um plano a longo prazo, em termos de estratégia, que deveria ter sido revelado em 2020. O Sr. Presidente da Câmara não fez isso. Depois apresento todas as resoluções, aliás, e propostas que eu apresentei no Conselho Municipal. Uma delas é que nós esperávamos e devemos exigir mais aos chefes de todos os departamentos do município. O que eu fiz foi uma sugestão, e eu acho que o Sr. Presidente da Câmara não compreende a diferença em termos de funções e responsabilidades entre o Executivo e o Legislativo. O Executivo, neste caso o Presidente da Câmara, é quem deve fazer o planeamento. Eu também apresentei uma resolução que pedia a avaliação do Departamento da Polícia, mas essa proposta que eu fiz não foi aprovada.
Frank, if I may ask a question, if I can ask a question. We have a debate that was supposed to be scheduled until 8 p.m. tonight, which was agreed upon by all candidates who are here. And I understand the mayor has to leave and has to go and keeps looking at his phone, but I'm asking if we could please continue the debate that we have before us until 8 o'clock. If the mayor has to leave, the mayor can leave. But the residents in the Portuguese-speaking community of Fall River deserves to hear about the issues facing them. And if the mayor, who's a full-time mayor, wants to leave, I don't think that is fair to this community. We have issues and we still need to talk about them. So if the mayor has to leave, that's fine. But I'd be happy to debate Mr. Albanese for the final half hour if he would like.
I would like to say something. The paper I have in front of me says you proposed a 90-minute debate. Now, maybe Frank got that wrong, but I did go with 90 minutes as you suggested. So I have no idea what you're talking about now unless you're accusing Frank of typing the wrong numbers in there.
Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, you actually called today to try to cancel this debate, and you wanted to move it to next week. So I'm ready to have a debate to discuss the issues facing Fall River until 8 o'clock. I will sit here until 8 o'clock. If everybody else leaves, that's fine, but I'm ready to speak about the issues facing Fall River tonight, right now.
Let's make one thing clear. I did not call to cancel the debate, and maybe Mr. Albanese will tell you exactly what happened. I was watching TV this morning, and they were accusing us of leaving people off the stage. I sent Frank an email, and I called Mr. Albanese. And I made sure that all the participants could participate, and we used Cliff's number of 90. Now, maybe he wants to change it tonight because for whatever reason he feels that that's how you make an arrangement with somebody. I'll change it because I feel like it. My position was I trusted Frank that we were going to do 90 minutes. We were following Mr. Pont's suggestion, unless he's alleging that something's wrong here, but I don't think so. So we went to 90 minutes, and that's where we are. Now, if Cliff wants to go out to the tables and talk to supporters after, go right ahead. I think he's doing a great job with his supporters.
Thank you.
My position is that we have to have a 90-minute debate because that's what he suggested.
I'm ready to stay till 8. If the mayor has to leave, that's fine. Mr. Baptista clearly stated, and this is the last thing I'll say. Mr. Baptista clearly stated that the debate, when he sent the email, was from 6 to 8. You didn't want to do it. You wanted to do it for an hour. I'm ready to do it until 8. If everybody else leaves, that's fine. But we have issues, and the community deserves to hear about it.
When we get, as you can see, we don't have too many too much time to discuss so many important issues. However, yes, I think people came here with the expectation that it will be a 90-minute one, although I wish it was 3 hours, because in both languages, it's difficult to speak to the issues in such a short period of time. So, Mayor, his suggestion, you disagree with his suggestion that you go till
We'll
late.
follow the instructions. He can stay after we do our closing statements, and if he wants to talk to his supporters, that's fine with me.
Okay.
You
I'm ready to debate until 8 p.m.
Yeah. Okay, so based on this, the closing statement was for Mr. Albernaz. Albernaz, what is your closing statement? Do you have one?
Yep. So, with theatrics aside,
Com as cenas de teatro ao lado,
I just want to remind you all that each and every one of you are individuals.
eu gostaria de vos lembrar que cada um de vós são individuais,
You are all free people.
Vocês são todos livres
You do not need the government to dictate to you
e não
what you can,
precisas do governo para dictar-te
what you can and cannot do.
o que podes e não fazer.
Only you know what is in your best interest.
Somente você é que sabe o que é que lhe interessa.
We don't need people like Governor Baker
We don't need people como o governador Baker
to require healthcare workers,
para requerer trabalhadores de saúde,
government workers,
trabalhadores do governo,
firefighters,
bombeiros,
the police department,
o departamento da polícia
and others
e outros
to get mandatory vaccinations,
para ter vacinas mandatórias,
mandatory mask wearing,
máscaras mandatórias
and showing proof of your immunization status.
e mostrar prova de que de que já foste vacinado.
It is not American.
Não é a maneira americana.
Mr. Coogan, your closing statement.
First, I want to thank all the residents for tuning in tonight and giving me the opportunity of a lifetime for the last year and a half. I am dedicated my life to the people in Fall River to make it a better place to live.
Eu quero agradecer a todos os que estão aqui presentes e à estação de rádio. Go ahead.
And I have always acted in the best interests of the city and its residents.
E eu tenho trabalhado somente por o interesse dos residentes de Fall River.
And over the course of our first term,
E através do nosso primeiro termo,
I believe I have brought stability,
eu trouxe estabilidade,
integrity,
integridade
and transparency back to the sixth floor.
e transparência para o sexto andar.
My administration navigated the pandemic,
A minha administração navegou através do pandemic
and we have strengthened working relationships
e nós temos estreitas relações
with elected officials
com o pessoal eleito
on both
on both
the federal and state level.
de federal e do estado.
And I believe the performance put on tonight by my opponent
E eu acredito que a performance posta pelo meu oponente,
after he clearly asked for a 90-minute debate,
em que ele claramente requereu 90 minutos,
shows the character and integrity
só o caráter e integridade
of my opponent.
do meu oponente.
This is not a ceremonial position
Isto não é uma posição cerimonial
or a part-time position.
ou a part-time posição.
And what you say has meaning.
E o que dizes deve ter significado.
I am both honored and excited
Eu estou excitado e honrado
for the chance to continue to work for another term,
com a oportunidade de correr para mais termo,
and I respectfully ask for your vote
e eu, muito respeitosamente, peço para o vosso voto
on Tuesday, September 21.
a terça-feira, setembro 21.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Mr. Ponte?
Thank you. Our city has many local monuments that it recognizes and appreciates our culture. We have some amazing bakeries and restaurants. We have many social clubs, like here, and that I visited frequently, and I'll continue to do that when I'm elected mayor. We have some band houses and amazing churches. Portuguese culture in Fall River is alive and well, and you have my commitment to preserve it. Even though we dearly miss the Academica Club, that the current mayor did nothing to do to help them, we have a community that offers tremendous resources and opportunity. But our city needs good government that saves you money. A mayor that needs to cut wasteful spending. A mayor who will require lean departments. And a mayor who has a future for the city, because the current administration has no plan to move Fall River forward and provide you any financial relief. And a mayor who will finally say, enough is enough, and provide you relief. On Tuesday, September 21st, I need, and I once again respectfully ask for your vote for mayor. And I also would prefer that we continue the debate as initially scheduled until 8 p.m. tonight, which was the initial request that the mayor didn't want to do. Thank you very much for your support. I promise you and your family will get nothing but my very best if I'm elected to serve you as your mayor. Thank you.
A nossa cidade tem muitos monumentos locais que reconhecem e apreciam a nossa cultura. Temos padarias e restaurantes incríveis. Temos muitos clubes sociais que eu tenho visitado com frequência e que vou continuar a visitar quando for eleito presidente da Câmara ou mayor. Temos bandas de música, temos igrejas incríveis. A cultura portuguesa está viva e de saúde e vocês têm o meu compromisso de lutar para a preservar. Mesmo que estejamos a sentir a falta da Académica e o atual Presidente da Câmara nada fez para ajudar a manter o clube aberto. Temos uma comunidade que oferece enormes recursos e oportunidades, mas a nossa cidade precisa de boa governação que poupe dinheiro a si. Precisa de um Presidente da Câmara, de um Mayor que reduza gastos desnecessários. Um Presidente da Câmara, um Mayor que exija documentos magros. Um Presidente da Câmara, um Mayor que tenha um plano para o futuro, porque a atual administração não tem nenhum plano para levar Fall River em frente e nenhum plano para lhe fornecer a si qualquer alívio financeiro. Um Presidente de Câmara, um Mayor que dirá basta, já é o suficiente e que forneça um verdadeiro alívio para si, o povo de Fall River. Eu preferia que o debate continuasse até às 8 horas da noite, que era o que estava acordado inicialmente, e estava disposto a fazer isso. Mas, como não pode ser, na terça-feira, dia 21 de setembro, eu preciso, e uma vez mais, respeitosamente, peço pelo vosso voto, aliás, para Presidente da Câmara, para Mayor. Muito obrigado e que Deus vos abençoe.
Thank you, candidates, Mr. Albanaz, Mayor Coogan, and City Council President Cliff Ponte. Before I finish here, two of you will make to November 2nd. Can we then have 2 hours? Can I get your commitment for two hours debate during the final election?
Yes, 100%.
Mayor?
I'm trying to get by the primary. We'll talk then.
Okay. Mr. Albanaz?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, and good luck to you on the 21st. Also, I would like to thank FRCA Media. Thank you very much for partnering with us on this debate. I would like to thank the Azorian Cultural Society, the listeners listening to us, the spectators on television, and you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Muito obrigado Estação de Televisão de Bristol, Community College. Obrigado a todos os ouvintes que nos ouvem e espectadores. Obrigado muito especial à Sociedade Cultural Açoriana pela disponibilidade desta linda sala. Se eu fosse solteiro, o meu próximo o casamento seria aqui nesta sala, muito bonita. E obrigado aos senhores e senhoras primeiro, senhoras e senhores, que estão aqui. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado aos colegas Lênin Gervásio e o colega José Aguiar. Muito obrigado a todos. Muito boa noite. And please vote on the 21st. Não se esqueçam de votar no dia 21. But before you vote, get vaccinated. Antes de votarem, vacinem-se. Muito obrigado. Boa noite.